welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, as per the title of the video, I'm going to be showing you a chart that's never been wrong and the signal that it's now flashing. Please make sure you watch to the end where I will go through a very rare chart pattern forming on the daily chart. And if this pattern is confirmed, then there will be fireworks for the Bitcoin price in the next few weeks and months. And if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, you must drop everything, get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. But before I do that, the usual polite reminder, please remember all my videos are for educational purposes, so you must do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. So with that out of the way, let's enter the Bitcoin vault to begin our Bitcoin analysis journey for today. Okay, so this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the BLX chart on the monthly time frame. So I'm going to show you this specific chart which has flashed signals all the way through the 12-year history, and it has never been wrong. This here is the Bitcoin Peril multiple, and when this line comes to this red horizontal line over here, it's giving you clear signals, clear warning signals to be on board the Bitcoin train. So as you can see, as soon as we drop below the red line over here, that seemed to be one of the best times to buy Bitcoin. The second time it did that was over here. It had a prolonged period over here, but as soon as it dropped below the red line, this was always going to be the best time to buy Bitcoin over here. And this was at the end of the 2014 bear market and the start of the 2015 bull market. If we move further on to 2018, once again, it found the bottom for you by hitting below the red line. And as soon as it came back up, this was the actual bottom of that market. So what is it showing now? Very clearly, as you can see, we also hit the bottom over here. So it gave another further signal before it really took off past the $9,000, $10,000 mark over here. And if we move further to the right, this is what it's giving now. We've just dipped below the red line once again, at this precise moment in time where the market is at the bottom of this very dominant bear market trend. I think everybody has to make up their own mind how they interpret this. At the end of the day, nobody knows the future, and we can only go by the indicators as they're giving us the picture developing for Bitcoin. So far, this indicator has been absolutely right. At the bottoms of this market here, every time it has fallen below the red line, it has been the best time to buy Bitcoin. And we are now at that point currently. Okay, so moving on to the daily chart. In the last video, I showed you these 60-day cycles, and if you haven't watched that video, please go and watch that. It'll give you a very clear identification of exactly the cycles that the Bitcoin follows over a 60-day cycle period. And the current cycle began here on Wednesday, 7th of September. And we said that the end of this cycle, if it's a pure 60-day cycle, because obviously there's a flexibility inbuilt with that, it could be 5 or 10 days either way. So the 60 days here would take it to Sunday the 6th of November, which is next Sunday coming. And if we mark that up, I said in the last video that I would be expecting the price to be coming down towards that 60-day low of the cycle here. So there is that pressure for the price to come back down to these levels due to the 60-day cycle. However, as you can see, instead of coming down, although you've seen a couple of red candles over there, and although we've got a week to come down here to make another low, it doesn't obviously have to do that. And it's giving us very good signs at the moment that with the monthly close coming up, and I'll go through that in a minute, we have to listen to Bitcoin when it's showing quite bullish signs over here. Because what you find when the market's had a big fall like this, when there's been a very strong dominant trend to the downside, and then that's followed by a large period, as over here, of consolidation and going sideways, there's an element of exhaustion for the price of Bitcoin here. And there comes a time when the trend wants to get out of this very boring sideways trend, and little signs start to appear that it wants to get out of that trend. It doesn't have to go to the upside, it can easily go to the downside, of course. And these little signs are now developing all over the Bitcoin chart. And this is one of them here. As you can see, when the market came up to this level here, it quickly fell down. When it came up to here, it quickly fell down. But here, it's being stubborn and sticking around. There's a lot of demand, a lot of people buying up Bitcoin. It's showing a lot of strength, despite all the pressure to come back down. So we have to take note of that. However, having said that, there is still this broader sideways range that Bitcoin has been going through between 18.5 on this white line here to the $25,200 mark over here. So we're still in this broad range, but within this broad range we're seeing little signs of change from the sideways trend. Another sign that's telling us there's a bullish trend taking place is that if you look at the 8 EMA, the blue line, so for the first time since over here in April 2022, this is the first time we've actually had 8 daily closes above the 8 EMA. And as you can see, multiple times it's been rejected time and time again, and recently over here. So just when everybody's expecting a crash down to the $12,000 mark, we're going the opposite way at the moment. Of course, this can be a fake out in terms of the chart pattern, but we can only go by what the charts are telling us. And this could well be a warning sign to those people waiting on the sidelines, expecting a price lower than where it is now. If you notice, it's also broken the previous lower high over here and closed well above it on multiple days over here. And since we topped out in November 2011, we've made a series of lower highs over here. And this was the fake out that we all got caught out by over here. But since then, it's been lower highs after lower high. And suddenly now, we're just making the first signs that we're now breaking back up and making a tentative move above a previous lower high. So I'm just showing you certain little signs that are developing within the charts. Another very important sign on the monthly chart, as you can see, the support line over here, we saw that back in June, July and August, the price came down all the way down to exactly 20,000 over here. If you have a closer look, you'll see. And I showed you in the last month's close that for the first time, we've closed below this. And this is usually a very bearish sign, except if we can come back up above that neckline again, then that would turn into a very bullish sign. Simply because Bitcoin has a habit of breaking these lines, these support and resistance lines, fading below that line, and then coming back up and take out all the stop losses over here. And the example I gave you was the one up here, when we topped out at 64,000 and we went all the way back up to retest it and create this second double bottom, which faded above the neckline over here before this happened. And this fall over here can quite easily be reversed in a very similar manner, with this candle falling below this neckline, and the next move is to the opposite side of that, to the upside. So this is a very bullish development which nobody seems to have picked up on. So whenever you see a neckline breaking to the upside and then the market reverses, that's when you need to go down for a short all the way down here, and vice versa to the upside. So this is the current monthly candle, and we're on October the 31st. So by tonight, we must close above 20,000 with this candle. And that would signal a reversal of this faded move to the downside with this candle over here, this red candle. And only time will tell whether we do over here what we did when we had a faded move similarly over here to the downside. Okay, at the beginning of this video, I said that I'm going to go through a daily chart pattern which is showing something which is a very rare pattern that you see. It only ever comes after many, many years, and it's been forming on the daily chart. So this chart is called the compound fulcrum pattern, and this is the chart of the silver. And this is where it formed. You'll see a very strong resemblance to the daily chart pattern with Bitcoin here. So what we got was this fulcrum here at the top. So what you have is, it looks like a head and shoulders pattern, but it's actually much more complex than that. So you've got a complex shoulder on the left hand side, followed by the fulcrum, and then a complex right shoulder here. So the fulcrum is at the top there, and when it comes back down as part of the end of the head of the pattern, then you make a series of lower highs, and then when you break one of the series of lower highs over here, that's the sign that the market is going to have a very big move to the upside over here. Once we get above the right shoulder, that's when the market goes up. So if we look at how that translates to this here, is that we've made a complex left shoulder over here before the head, where the fulcrum is over here at the top at 25,200. We've come back down to this support line, and we made a series of lower highs over here, and we've just broken the first lower high at this point. And what confirms this compound fulcrum pattern is when you exit above this right shoulder over here, and this is one of the levels I've been giving you for the many weeks now, 22,800. Once we make a move towards the upside of that, once we confirm that we've broken through this here, that confirms the compound fulcrum pattern here. Now, for those who take an aggressive view on trading and investment, that would be your signal to basically go long. However, for the safer investors and safer traders, for them, this compound fulcrum pattern would only be confirmed once we get above this level here. Because once we get above 25.2, there will be fireworks over here, because that will be a big confirmation that we are no longer going back and retesting the 17,500 over here. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I hope you found value in the video, and if you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification. And if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, then leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.